I saw the page growing 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, and it just kept growing.
So on average in a week's time, how many restaurants are you going into?
I would say 20 on average, 20 a week.
Welcome to Living in Long Beach. I'm Kim Purdy, and in this series, we are going to be exploring people, places, and stories that make our city great. Today, I'm meeting my friend James from LB Food Coma. He's already inside. Let's go check it out. All right, so you brought us here to Ammatoli, and I'm just curious why you chose this place.
This is honestly just one of my favorite restaurants. It's done super well. The chef, she runs this place with an iron fist. Like, the food comes out so good every time. And I don't know, it's just, I don't often get to enjoy Mediterranean food that's this like deeply explored. Usually it's more fast casual. You get kebabs, you get pitas, you get that kind of stuff, wraps. Here it's like, it's a deep dive into the cuisine. And they're specifically Jordanian, and so they have a bunch of eats that are, you know, unique to them.
I feel like when you say the name, people immediately melt. Like,
Yes.
When was the first time that you were introduced to Ammatoli?
I was here when they first opened, 2018. And so I came in here and they were more fast casual at that time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was just small bites. Now they have freshly baked pita, but back then they had just your normal, like that dry, crusty pita that you get in every other place. But you know, they iterate and grew over time.
Yeah.
So like their second expansion, they added that this oven where they freshly make their pita, and it's incredible.
Do you have a favorite dish here?
I do. I have a handful of things that I love here. My personal favorite dish is the roasted beets labneh, which is a yogurt dip. It's bright pink, it's sweet, it's bright and citrusy, it's fantastic. And then when you pair it with that pillowy, steamy pita, incredible.
Sounds amazing. I know that we could spend a lot of time talking about Ammatoli because of the richness of their food and just the culture that they have brought to this community here in Long Beach. I'm really curious to deep dive into how you got into doing what you're doing. Where did you come from? What is your backstory? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I grew up in Long Beach. My parents owned a donut shop in Westminster. And as I got older, I started working for my aunt. She owned a Cambodian restaurant on the corner of Cherry and Anaheim. It was called Hai Hien. I worked there as a busboy at a pretty young age. I won't disclose that. And by the time I graduated high school, I was working in the kitchen. And I knew how to make everything in that restaurant. Then I was like, I'd never want to work in the food industry again. This was super hard, so I went to school. I got a degree in design, industrial design, product design. Hated it, but it got me like in this design headspace. You know, I really had a lot of like problem solving skills that I learned through that. And it allowed me to look at different things in the world in different ways. It's like every little part of how I execute what I do now comes from that era.
All right, so you came from the world of product design and then you got into real estate, and that's how we met. Tell me a little bit about that transition, how you went from there, from one to the other.
So product design seemed like it would be my dream job. I was working for a skateboarding company that I won't name, but I was miserable. I was in a cubicle, it was a 9 to 5. It was a creative job with lots of deadlines, and it just wasn't social, it wasn't right for me. And so I was like, I need to find some sort of avenue where I can just meet people. And so real estate seemed like the right way to go. I was just like, all right, might as well give it a shot. Just like being bold and brave, you know, like doing the things that I don't want to do, such as door knocking and cold calling. Never want to do those things again. But
so from real estate, then how did you transition into LB Food Coma?
Well, I was near the tail end of my real estate career, and I was just like, I want to do more. And so I made it my goal to meet 5 new people every day. This was just like, it was kind of a crazy little thought that popped in my head. I just love meeting people and I love networking. And so I might as well just maximize that idea. And so I would go to the places where you meet the most amount of people in the shortest amount of time. It was cafes, restaurants, and bars. And, I just did it with integrity. I didn't go in thinking, oh, there's going to be like opportunity here. I just went in because I'm like, I want to make new friends. And well, I did. I made a lot of new friends.
Yeah.
And I learned that each person I met, I wasn't meeting just a single human being. I was meeting them and their entire sphere of influence.
Was there a time or like a turning point where you're like, oh, this is really working for me and I didn't even mean for it to be happening in this way?
Well, yeah, so meeting 5 new people every day really quickly built my network. I ended up having a network of people outside of the food industry and within the food industry. But also I kept a digital diary, my Instagram, of every place I went to. And it gained a following, a really strong one. Everyone was like, oh, this is the local expert. And I ended up being just, I'm like, it would be silly for me to pass this up. And so I committed a lot more time into it and continued my networking, continued doing the Instagram, and it kind of just came together.
Wow.
And now I do what I do.
There must have been a time for you that you really realized like there was a shift.
I realized, wow, this can be a career. Yes. I saw the page growing. I was, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000. 20,000, and it just kept growing. I was like, and it was also all local. I didn't realize there was, that opportunity, and I quickly became this big fish in a small pond.
Yeah. What did that feel like to you?
It was cool. It just opened up so many doors, and I had very little competition, so I was just like, all right, I'm gonna go for it.
Yeah. Speaking of competition, I know that one of your friends is Brian Addison, right? How does that work with the two of you in this community?
We work together pretty well. He's more of a traditional journalist, and I'm more of an influencer, and so we don't really step on each other's toes.
That's great.
And we also have very different demographics. But yeah, we work together often.
I love that. There's enough room. I think the interesting thing about real estate is oftentimes we think about, so many people feel like it's so cutthroat, but what I want to infuse into real estate is there's enough business for everybody, you pat my back, I pat your back,
right.
and shake hands and let's do this together and build one another up.
Exactly, because you never know when you're going to be on the other side of a transaction with a person.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to take that tip of meeting 5 people every day. I've already learned so much from you. Tell me a little bit about your journey through Instagram.
I have a very specific style, and I don't think, I iterate and grow on that style, but I don't think outside influences change it that much. It's like what I'm doing works, and I just want to do it better.
What I've noticed with your work is that it's really fast and upbeat, and you never lose interest. You have such a big following that people are begging for you to come into their restaurants and showcase what it is that you do. How long does it take you from start to finish? If a restaurant asks you to come in to take part in their food and the whole experience, what does that process look like for you?
So when the food arrives, I take maybe 5 to 10 minutes of filming. I just quickly do every move and little gesture that I need. And then I eat, and then I edit. The editing takes somewhere between 15 to 20 minutes.
Wow, that's fast.
And then I put it on my stories, and then I move on to the next spot.
Okay. So on average in a week's time, how many restaurants are you going into?
I would say 20 on average, 20 a week.
Wow, that is a lot of food. That's a lot of eating. If you had a crystal ball and you could foresee the future, do you feel like there's going to be any major shifts or changes for you within your business? Or do you feel like this model that you've set up is really just you're going to be able to organically grow upon?
I think within Long Beach specifically, we're seeing kind of a renaissance in the culinary world. So chefs, specifically this year, have kicked it into high gear. A couple years ago, we had our first Michelin star with Heritage. And then all of a sudden, we started seeing other chefs from LA and Orange County coming to Long Beach. And then we're seeing legacy chefs try harder. We see Jason Witzel from Ellie's. We're seeing Carlos Jurado from Selva. We're seeing all these chefs that are just they have this sunburst of inspiration, and now they're doing all sorts of they're taking risks, and it's really nice to see.
Yeah.
And I think being a part of this wave that that leads us into the LA 28 Olympics. It's fun to be a part of.
Do you feel like you'll be a big part of the Olympics coming up?
Yeah, inevitably tourism is going to play a huge part, and I think my role in this is to showcase what Long Beach has to offer culinarily speaking citywide, not just within the Olympic Village.
Okay.
I'd love for people to explore the rest, like North Long Beach and West Side, and not just Belmont Shore and downtown and Bixby.
There's a bunch of different neighborhoods in Long Beach, and we know that, but for people that don't know Long Beach at all, how would you describe the food scene in the neighboring cities, or within the city?
Long Beach is incredibly diverse by default, and so the food scene is that way as well. And from neighborhood to neighborhood, like if you have Bixby, it's more family oriented, and so all of the restaurants there are much more approachable and comforting. While you have Zaffaria, which is more like eclectic, and so you've got more, I guess, hipstery, new, fun, exciting restaurants, and then downtown's like the party part, and so you got more bars. Retro Row is more retro, for lack of better words, and so it's like you've got all these eclectic neighborhoods that contribute to the diversity from scene to scene. You can have Cambodian food in Cambodia Town. You could have a Michelin star restaurant off of 6th Street. You could go to West Side and have like Peruvian food, and North Side for amazing tacos. It's just the full range.
Thinking about this journey that you've just taken us on and what you've experienced in your journey thus far, and I know there's a lot more to come. We're all going to be following you to see what you're doing in the next 5 to 10 years. Is there anything that you've taken from your roots that you now see yourself, implement in your daily life, and any final closing thoughts that you'd like to leave us with?
Right, I was definitely in a pretty strict upbringing, but also my parents were busy despite being strict, and so I had the freedom to kind of do whatever the heck I wanted, and so I just hung out with the neighbors and the kids, and I was a big risk taker, and I think that has bled into every facet of what I do. I am not afraid to do something that's different from like my usual habit. Like I would do like things slightly different, It's like the side quest every day, right? It's just like a little change every single day will lead to extraordinarily big changes over the years.
Oh, I love that. So often you're behind the scenes and we're seeing your creations, and you're giving us stories in every single post that you create, but to actually hear your voice and hear your stories firsthand, and to know that you've got this freedom to create your world, is so inspiring. So thank you so much for being part of this, and I know that this is just the beginning for you.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah.